Something inside you is dying, and you're terrified. The person you thought you were, the one with the plans, the certainties, the familiar routines, is dissolving before your eyes. But what if this isn't the end of you, but actually the birth of who you've always been underneath the mask? They call it spiritual awakening, but it feels more like spiritual unraveling. Everything that once felt solid is crumbling. Your old dreams feel hollow. Your relationships feel superficial. And even your sense of self seems to be slipping through your fingers like sand. You're not alone in this feeling, and you're definitely not going crazy. I'm Harmony Ziba, and I've walked this path of sacred dismantling. What you're experiencing right now is what neuroscientists call synaptic pruning. Your brain is literally cutting away neural pathways that no longer serve your highest evolution. You're not falling apart. You're being sculpted into something magnificent. Today, we're going to explore the 7 stages of this sacred dismantling process, not so you can rush through them, but so you can recognize where you are and stop fighting what's trying to emerge. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. The caterpillar doesn't know it's becoming a butterfly. It just trusts the dissolving. Stage 1 is what I call the identity earthquake. This is when everything you believed about yourself starts to crack. Maybe you were the responsible one, the people pleaser, the achiever, the rebel. Whatever role you've been playing suddenly feels like a costume that no longer fits. You look in the mirror and think, who is this person? This isn't a crisis of identity. It's the birth of authenticity. Your brain has been running on what researchers call the default mode network, essentially autopilot patterns that were formed to help you survive your childhood and early experiences. But survival patterns aren't the same as thriving patterns. When spiritual awakening begins, your consciousness starts questioning these automatic responses. Why do I always say yes when I mean no? Why do I shrink myself to make others comfortable? Why do I chase things that don't actually fulfill me? This questioning isn't doubt, it's wisdom emerging. For the first time, you're seeing the difference between who you really are and who you learn to be. The discomfort you feel isn't failure, it's freedom knocking at your door. Take a breath right now and ask yourself, what role am I ready to outgrow? Stage 2 is the emotional tsunami. Suddenly, feelings you've kept buried for years come rushing to the surface. You might find yourself crying for no apparent reason, feeling inexplicably angry, or experiencing grief over losses you thought you'd processed. This isn't emotional instability. This is emotional intelligence awakening. Your nervous system has been storing unexpressed emotions in your body for years, maybe decades. Think of it like a pressure cooker that's finally releasing steam. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that suppressed emotions create inflammation in the body and fog in the mind. When awakening begins, your system starts clearing this emotional backlog so you can think clearly and feel authentically. The key during this stage is not to judge these emotions or try to stop them. Instead, practice what I call sacred witnessing. When an emotion arises, place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Breathe deeply and say, I see you, I feel you, and I trust that you're here to heal something. You're not drowning in emotions, you're cleaning house energetically. Stage 3 is the relationship reckoning. As you become more authentic, some relationships will naturally fall away, and this can be the most painful part of awakening. People who knew the old version of you might resist the person you're becoming. They might say you've changed, and they're absolutely right, you have. But change isn't betrayal of who you were. It's loyalty to who you're becoming. Here's what's happening energetically. You're raising your vibrational frequency, and not everyone can match that new energy. Some people were attracted to your wounds, your people-pleasing, your willingness to stay small. As you heal and grow, these dynamics become impossible to maintain. This isn't about judging others. It's about honoring your own evolution. The relationships that survive this transition will be deeper and more authentic than ever before. And the space created by relationships that fall away makes room for soul-aligned connections to enter your life. Trust this process. The universe is upgrading your entire social ecosystem to match your new level of consciousness. Stage 4 is what I call the void season. This is perhaps the most disorienting stage because nothing feels familiar anymore. Your old interests bore you, your previous goals seem meaningless, and you feel like you're floating in empty space. You might lose motivation for things that once excited you. This isn't depression, this is gestation. Think of a seed that's been planted in dark soil. For weeks, nothing appears to be happening above ground, but beneath the surface, an entire root system is developing. The void stage is your root system growing. Your consciousness is expanding in ways that aren't yet visible in your external world, but the foundation for your new life is being laid. During this stage, resist the urge to force action or make big decisions. Instead, practice what I call sacred stillness. Set aside time each day to simply be with yourself without agenda. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and listen to the silence. In that silence, your authentic desires are crystallizing. Your true purpose is clarifying. Your soul is remembering who it came here to be. Stage 5 is the remembering phase. After months or sometimes years of feeling lost, you start to remember who you really are beneath all the conditioning. It's like puzzle pieces clicking into place. Suddenly, things that never made sense about your life story start to reveal their purpose. Challenges you thought were random begin to show their role in your evolution. This is when your intuition becomes stronger than your intellect. You start making decisions based on inner knowing rather than external logic. You might find yourself drawn to completely new interests, career paths, or ways of being that surprise everyone, including yourself. This isn't a midlife crisis. This is a soul remembering its mission. Neuroscience research shows that awakening activates what they call the right brain hemisphere, the part responsible for creativity, intuition, and holistic thinking. You're literally developing new cognitive abilities. Trust these new insights even when they don't make logical sense. Your soul speaks a different language than your mind, and you're finally learning to understand it. Stage 6 is conscious reconstruction. Now you begin rebuilding your life, but from a completely different foundation. Instead of creating from fear, scarcity, or other people's expectations, you're creating from love, abundance, and authentic desire. Every choice becomes an opportunity to align with your true self rather than your conditioned self. This stage requires what I call sacred boundaries. You become fiercely protective of your energy, your time, and your peace. You stop saying yes to things that drain you and start saying no without guilt. You choose relationships, work, and activities based on whether they nourish your soul or deplete it. This isn't selfishness. This is self-stewardship. You also develop what researchers call emotional granularity, the ability to distinguish between different feeling states with precision. Instead of just feeling bad or good, you can identify exactly what you're experiencing: frustrated, disappointed, hopeful, grateful, excited. This emotional intelligence becomes your internal guidance system for making aligned choices. Stage 7 is integrated service. Once you've done the deep work of awakening, a natural desire emerges to share your gifts with the world. But this isn't the ego-driven helping of the past. This is service that flows from overflow rather than obligation. You filled your own cup, and now it naturally spills over to nourish others. Your awakening becomes medicine for the collective, not through preaching or trying to convince others, but simply by living authentically. When people see someone who has done the work of becoming real, it gives them permission to do the same. Your transformation becomes an invitation for others to transform. This service looks different for everyone. For some, it's raising conscious children. For others, it's creating art that touches souls. Some become healers, teachers, or leaders. But all authentic service has one thing in common. It comes from who you are, not what you think you should do. Your very existence becomes your contribution. Here's what I need you to understand about these 7 stages. They're not linear, and they don't have timelines. You might experience them in a different order or revisit certain stages multiple times as you spiral deeper into authenticity. There's no right way to awaken, and there's no finish line to cross. But there are ways to support yourself through this process. First, find community with others who understand the journey. Awakening can be isolating when you're surrounded by people still sleeping, so seek out those who speak the language of transformation. Second, develop a daily practice that connects you to your inner wisdom, whether that's meditation, journaling, walking in nature, or simply sitting in silence. Third, remember that this process is happening for you, not to you. Every uncomfortable moment, every relationship that ends, every old dream that dies is making space for something more aligned to emerge. Your soul is guiding this entire process with intelligence beyond your mind's comprehension. Most importantly, be patient with yourself. You're literally rewiring decades of conditioning and stepping into a way of being that our culture doesn't teach. You're pioneering a new way of living that prioritizes inner truth over external approval, authenticity over achievement, being over doing. Right now, I want you to pause and feel into your body. Which of these 7 stages resonates most deeply with where you are today? Don't judge it, just notice it. That awareness alone is the beginning of conscious navigation through this sacred process. Take a moment to honor how far you've already come. The fact that you're here, listening to this, means you've already answered the call to awakening. You've already chosen truth over comfort, growth over stagnation, evolution over staying the same. That takes tremendous courage. In the comments below, share which stage you're experiencing right now. Use just 1 or 2 words: identity earthquake, emotional tsunami, void season, remembering, reconstruction, or service. Let's create a map of this community's journey together. When we witness each other's process, we remember we're not walking this path alone. Remember this: you are not broken, and you don't need fixing. You are awakening, and that makes you one of the most courageous souls on this planet. Your willingness to let the false self die so the true self can be born is changing not just your life, but contributing to the awakening of human consciousness itself. The caterpillar doesn't know it's becoming a butterfly. It just trusts the dissolving. Trust your dissolving. Trust what's emerging. And most importantly, trust that everything falling away is making space for something magnificent to take its place. You are being reborn, and the world needs who you're becoming.